Hey everybody, welcome to our new video series. I'm going to take a chapter each time that we do this. I'm going to try to go through it semi-quickly, just explain just a few things that I kind of gleaned from it, point out a few things. We're going to go to First Samuel, so if you want to follow along in the Bible, you can find First Samuel. It's in the Old Testament. The reason that we're doing First Samuel is pretty simple. Throughout the year, I get asked more than once, either by somebody who's starting to disciple a new person, or somebody that has a friend that's not a believer, but is interested in learning about the Bible, which is one of my favorite ways and methodologies for evangelism. Is if I can uh, begin to read the Bible with you, and we can talk about what comes up through that, and maybe the questions that you'll have or the thoughts that you'll have and observations. I find that to be very enlightening for somebody who's lost. And people will ask me, what book should I do? And the honest answer is, if God's telling you to do a book, do that book. It's the Bible. Just pick a book in the Bible, go through it. I do think that that's my dog, by the way. I do think something has spooked my dog. I do think there are certain books that you would only want to read if God is telling you you have to read those books, especially with a new believer, especially with somebody who's not yet a believer. Um, but by and large, I think if you're drawing blanks, if you don't feel like God's giving you a clear directive on a specific book, I think you go to the book that you know the best. I think you go to the book that you enjoy reading the most, because what'll happen is what has been sown into your heart and what's been the wells that God has dug in your heart through that book over time have a greater chance to come out. If you're picking up what I'm putting down with this, it's real simple. If you're somebody who loves the book of First Corinthians, then great. Take somebody through First Corinthians. Why? Well, because you're going to be focused on them seeing what God has done in you in it. You're going to be focused on them knowing the meaning. You're going to be able to better help answer their questions because you're not having to spend as much time researching the exegesis of a passage. You're not going to have to spend as much time researching every version of the Greek word that's present in that passage. You're going to be confident. And when you're confident, you're probably not going to get it perfect, and that's normal and okay, but you're going to be able to move forward with people. You're also going to be confident and comfortable when you say, I don't know. We can go find that answer, though. So, all that to say, we're going to First Samuel because, honestly, it's my go-to book. Whenever I start things, the guy that trained and discipled me, I knew that if he felt like we needed to do something in the scriptures, but God hadn't laid on his heart a specific book to go through, I knew we were going through Philippians. For the same reasons that I choose First Samuel, for the same reasons that my wife chooses the book of Ruth, Nick would choose Philippians. And I love Philippians. It's just First Samuel's in my top 5 books because of all the ways that God has used it throughout the last 20 years of my life. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not going to read word for word. The version that I have in front of me is an ESV. I believe we own 4 or 5 different versions in our house, not because we're holy and righteous, but simply because at different seasons of life, I have been able to gain more from different versions of the Bible. The right version for you is the one that you will read. Plain and simple. My wife goes back and forth between a New King James and a NLT. And I'm a big fan of the NLT because it goes thought for thought, whereas my version goes word for word in its translation. So if you get between the two of those, you really have a more robust understanding of a passage. The NIV is going to fall right in the middle of both of those, and they're good text. They're good versions. Just get the one that you'll read. And if you see somebody acting like a snob because they have the ESV, kick them in the leg because they're an idiot. So, and I'm reading from that same version as them, so kick me in the leg too, I guess.